Hello everyone, Christopher Caliendo here, and thank you for joining me in this series of video blogs featuring cellist Armen Ksajikian, my dear friend over many, many years, whom I wrote this cello concerto for, my first cello concerto, and just wanted to share with you, travel with you, on how this cello concerto was composed, the inspiration for it, as well as the series of steps it takes to, in the modern day 21st century, to actually have a cello concerto premiered. So let's go back to childhood. I've always enjoyed speculative fiction, in particular the fiction of the pulp-era, which gave rise to such authors as Robert E. Howard, who invented Conan, H.P. Lovecraft, Arthur Machen, Algernon Blackwood, W.W. Jacobs, William Hodgson, and above all, Clark Ashton Smith. The cello concerto was inspired by one of Smith's Tales of Zothic stories, in particular, The Empire of the Necromancers, first published in Weird Tales, their January issue in 1932. The Zothic cycle, as Smith once styled it, depicts the last inhabited continent of Earth. It's a time where science and machinery have long been forgotten. Many gods are worshipped, and sorcery prevails again as in ancient days. The story surrounds two evil sorcerers who are booted out of the city where they've been causing trouble, and while wandering in the desert, they come upon the bones of a warrior and the man's horse. They proceed to raise both warrior and horse from the dead and press them into service as they travel on to the lost city that's been wiped out by plague, giving them many more bodies to reanimate. They set themselves up as emperors of this kingdom of the dead. The story is so full of vividly grotesque imagery, such as one of the sorcerers riding the skeleton horse while the skeleton warrior shuffles along behind it. Now here's an example of Smith's writing style as he describes the emperor's servitors. Tribute was borne to them by fleshless porters from outlying realms and plague-eaten corpses, and tall mummies scented with mortuary balsams. Dead laborers made their palace gardens to bloom with long-perished flowers. Lycas and skeletons toiled for them in the mines, or reared superb, fantastic towers to the dying sun. Incredible imagery. When I finished the story, I could not help but think of Cirque du Soleil acting out this scene and what that would look like, emanating from, if you're in the audience stage left, this slow cortege of mummies and skeletons walking across, gaining momentum as they get to the center of the stage, and then quietly shuffling across to stage right and disappearing. So I couldn't help but think of sketching out the first movement as a palindrome, the sequence of music sounding the same backwards as forwards, in order to depict this cortege of skeletons mounted on camels towards some destination, and then losing sight of this ghastly entourage in the periphery of the horizon. Well, here we have cellist Armen Ksajikian, whom the concerto, like I said, was composed for. He's going to be rehearsing the opening of the first movements with May music, which supports this strange and enchanting sorcery that compels the dead to rise from tranquil nothingness to obey henceforth the dark will of the necromancer. This will be the first of a series of video blog posts which will provide you the opportunity to join us as we travel through the development of the concerto to its world premiere. Thanks for joining us. This is Christopher Caliendo featuring cellist Armen Ksajikian.